Ladies and gentlemen of the media, we have concluded today's hearing in the case of Marcel Nnamdi Kanu, and the crowning glory of it was that he put up a very good defense of himself, even though he was concentrating on the objections raised to the jurisdiction of the court. On that note, the court adjourned for further hearing to 7th of November, when the court expects that he will enter his full defense. Well, having said that, I know a lot of people have raised questions and eyebrows about the propriety of Marcel Nnamdi Kanu representing himself. It is his decision to make. He has the right under the Constitution to defend himself, and this case being politically charged, I think the idea or the notion that this is a normal criminal case has to be dispensed with. This is a normal criminal case at all. If you want to understand the complexity of this case and the true political dimensions to it, you think of the case of Nelson Mandela, Martin Luther King, or Bafemi Awolowo, Mahatma Gandhi. These cases were all politically tinged cases masquerading as criminal prosecutions. And these great men I mentioned, at some point in their struggle, at some point in their travail imposed on them by the state, they took the podium and defended themselves. So a politically charged case often comes with some unusual dimensions like this. So because, why? The reason is simple. Lawyers are restricted to very narrow wiggle room when they are doing a case. And that narrow wiggle room can be inimical, can be prejudicial to the interest of the client when the case has a political dimension to it. That thing needs to be out there. That limitation we have is not expected of the defendant himself. So a lot of times, the defendant himself will make the best defense of his case at that very point in time. That does not obviate the fact that the presence of a lawyer in a case is always better. But in certain circumstances, there are exceptions, and the exception is, this one is one of the major exceptions. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Okay, my Lord has adjourned the matter to 7th of July, 7th of November, for the Mazi to open his defense, or he will foreclose his right of defense. So we are going back to the drawing board, go back to office, look at it, and offer our advice as consultants. But having said that, the issue of talking to the press also came up, and we said no. Right to address the press is a fundamental right, because once we fail to address the press and tell the press the real position of things, they may go about report, especially those of them who don't have the opportunity of coming inside the court. They may go and report another thing. So the court said that we have a right to exercise to address the press, which even the prosecution has confirmed. But he said that we should do it in line with the law, just like as I'm doing it now. I just reported what happened in court, not prejudicing what is happening, what is going to happen. And I believe that just like every other person, we are calling Mr. President to discontinue this trial. It's embarrassing Nigeria the more. Thank you and God bless you.
Listening to the consultants, because they are consultants to Nnamdi Kanu now, listening to the consultants of Nnamdi Kanu, gave me a great relief. I made a video that a lot of persons did not understand my point, where I insisted that Nnamdi Kanu should be left to do what he thinks. If Nnamdi Kanu says that he's not going to start up defense because of this, allow him to do what he like. If he said he want to start up defense, allow him to do what he like. Now, I also published a video about what Sowore posted. I believe Nnamdi Kanu have been advised that these people, even though they don't have case against you, but so that they will not say that you did not put up defense, that is why they do this, even when they don't have case against you. So you can, while putting up your defense, let your defense also rely that the constitution they are using to try you does not exist. So I believe that is what Nnamdi Kanu just did, and the judge have now adjourned the case to the 7th for the continuation of full defense. I don't know how it's going to be anyway. we still have a long way to go about this. All these things are embarrassing. All these things are embarrassing. So for me, I believe that the best thing the Nigerian government, could have done is just to allow this man to go. But unfortunately, what Nnamdi Kanu represents threatens the Nigerian entity. What Nnamdi Kanu represents threatens Nigeria so well. His influence threatens his kindred in the southeast. These politicians, the governors, and all these people you are seeing, they are just on social media trying to pretend that they want Nnamdi Kanu to be released. But inside them, they know that it is never their wish. It is never their wish. So let's see how things, we go. But we know that the federal government of Nigeria, all these politicians, they have made up their mind that they are not going to leave Nnamdi Kanu. So it will take a stiff resistance from all angles. Listening to Aloy Jimako, you understand what he was saying, right? There are some cases you have to leave, the person defending himself to defend himself, because if you are a lawyer, you are in the court. There are some things you might not say to the judge, but Nnamdi Kanu will say it to the judge. So I understand the angle Aloy Jimako was coming from. The truth is bitter, but we have to say it.
So if anybody, when Nigerian citizens see the details of the Supreme Court statement today, they will marvel at how, after saying all these illegality that the federal government and their security agencies committed, all they had to do was that the primary court said, the appeal court said that the primary court had no jurisdiction. So they condemned the appeal court for taking that decision. Therefore, because the primary court had jurisdiction, the case should go back to them. So if in all these atrocities they committed, they had killed Nnamdi Kanu, what will be the basis of the primary court and its jurisdiction? What will be the basis of it? When I started, I talked about judicial rascality. So what it empowers is security rascality. Because you cannot tell other police, army, navy, air force, condemn them plainly, and then you exonerate them. So you give them license to kill Nigerians, just like they are doing in Plateau, killing people. They are doing in Benue. Herdsmen are killing people. But you haven't had any person in this country condemn the herdsmen of Nigeria for killing hundreds of thousands of Nigerians. You haven't had them condemn the killings in southern Kaduna. So the security agencies are being encouraged to recklessness. And recklessness not about spoken word. Recklessness with gun, killing Nigerian citizens. So if anybody, when Nigerian citizens see the details of the Supreme Court statement today, they will marvel at how, after saying all these illegality that the federal government and their security agencies committed, all they had to do was that the primary court said, the appeal court said that the primary court had no jurisdiction. So they condemned the appeal court for taking that decision. Therefore, because the primary court had jurisdiction, the case should go back to them. So if in all these atrocities they committed, they had killed Nnamdi Kanu, what will be the basis of the primary court and its jurisdiction? What will be the basis of it? And look at the whole panel, about 7 judges, not one Igbo man, not one person from the southeast, not one person from the south. So it's a contrived business to put that boy, to put him behind bar. And we have been asking that they should turn him to Kuje prison. They refuse. Why wouldn't they allow him to go to Kuje prison? Why keep him at the DSS? Why? So it shows you that Nigeria is not interested in fighting insecurity. Because if they were interested and they love this country, they would have seen that Nnamdi Kanu is a major instrument that will bring security. Southeast will be a beginning. The other parts of the country would have been a follow-up. So it's unfortunate that you condemn security forces for the crimes they commit and you exonerate them by keeping Nnamdi Kanu there and asking that we go back again, to start case from, Federal High Court application. What actually is the sin of Nnamdi Kanu? Asking for justice for his people. That's all he's saying. That the Southeast has been completely, excommunicated from everything that happens in this country. So we pray that this young man, I don't know whether you have had the privilege to speak with him, one of the most brilliant young men you can ever come across. Not only is he brilliant, but well spoken. Why this shows you that we have no values Can you imagine a boy that a whole zone respects? A whole zone respects him. Who else, apart from M.I. Okpara in those days and Dr. Nnamdi Kanu, they don't have as much respect as this young man. That would have been an advantage for Tinubu and his government with the National Security Advisor to say, look, how do we seriously start to curb this insecurity in the country? If this boy is so loved by his people, why don't we sit him down and discuss with him, know where he's coming from? If there are things he's agitating against we can solve, we start doing something. And look at Northwest and Northeast. Look at where the country is today. Everywhere is war, killing people. Killing is no more, it's an admirable, concept in Nigeria now. Any day nobody is killed, you don't hear it, then it's abnormal. But in a normal day, hundreds killed in herdsmen in Plateau Plateau, in southern Kaduna, in the southeast, then not to talk of the bandits and Boko Haram in northeast and northwest. That one is a daily occurrence, killing hundreds of them. We're a country without statistics. If we have good statistics, people will riot to know the number of Nigerians who are dying. Every town now, in all parts of the country, people are burying people. People go to bed, they won't wake up. So it's all cumulative effect of total insecurity. Probably you do work somewhere, nobody pays you. You are working for somebody, you are not paid. You go to bed, you are thinking of what you will tell your wife in the morning. You can't pay school fees. The man goes to bed and won't wake up. And we say, God, please take my life. Why am I living? When a man cannot take care of his immediate family, what life is it anymore? And you don't want people to react. Young men leave school, no work, and they see somebody who rigged an election and goes to Abuja and he buys a armored plated jeep for 160 million, and you want him to go and sleep. His parents sell their property to train our young men and women, and they come out 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 years. They can't say good morning, thank you to their parents. They will look at their parents without any hope of tomorrow. Parents who have trained their children, we should have hope that their children should get back to take care of them. But it's not the case in Nigeria. And we don't appear, our legislators are not interested. Executive all over the place are not interested. So I don't know how this problem will be sorted out. I normally find it very difficult to discuss a profession that I'm not one. But common sense also tells you that you can reason. If somebody is talking, you can reason. But it's painful because some patriotic Igbos, I saw 1 or 2 senators there who left everything they were doing to come to the Supreme Court with some hope. Because if you listen to the judgment of the appeal court, it was fundamentally very literate, accommodating on every aspect of it. So people were very hopeful that the appeal court would uphold the judgment of the Court of Appeal. The Supreme Court will uphold the judgment of the Court of Appeal, and that would have been a case done for. But unfortunately, because if you were in the Supreme Court, like I was, we were there as early as 8:30 in the morning. And when he started running this judgment, on every aspect of that case, he condemned the Supreme Court condemned the federal government of Nigeria. In fact, they used the word illegality not less than 20 times. The killing of people at Nnamdi Kanu's father's compound, they even named the number of people killed, the rendition from Kenya, how he was kidnapped. It was difficult to believe that after condemning the security services for unauthorized and unorthodox behavior, kidnapping Nigerians and killing people anyhow, I have never seen a court with that kind of finality in terms of condemning public officers who were working for government, telling them, you don't take the laws into your hands, only to finally, because they said they disagreed with the appeal court, that the lower court had no jurisdiction. It was the basis of what they are doing, that they should now go back to that court because it has jurisdiction to hear the case in the first place. That's just a matter of it. So if Nnamdi Kanu dies, after all this illegality, what case are they going to hear? This boy has been under detention for how many years now? Even the Supreme Court was asking all these questions too. The illegality that has been meted against him, and yet they still will go back again to the federal high courts, where we then will start begging for bail. Even condemned the government, that court, for revoking his bail. That was the exact statement of the Supreme Court. So you don't even know the basis of their final decision. So, you know, when people say that there is a judicial rascality in this country, you cannot but agree with those people. Because unless it affects you, you won't appreciate why they said so. Because when you, at the whole Supreme Court, I mean, everybody bent his face down. All lawyers were so astonished. To talk of embarrassment is an understatement. But in all cases, as a Christian, we give glory to God.